On a long and arduous journey to explore the world beneath our feet, we set out through the tunnels of time, slipping between grains of soil, listening to the whispers of ancient rocks, and witnessing the fierce battles of tiny creatures invisible to our daily eyes. Down there in dark, untouched depths, entire kingdoms thrive. Kingdoms of fierce red ants, armies of tireless black ants, and beetles that carry the secrets of the earth, preserved for millions of years. Every grain of dirt hides a story. Every moist particle beneath the ground conceals an entire life. Today, we will uncover the secrets of these hidden worlds. We will witness their wars, their alliances, and discover why the underground world beneath our feet is far more complex than we ever imagined. Get ready to dive into the strange and fascinating journey through the kingdoms of ants and beetles. Our steps slowed, cautious, as the scent of damp earth grew stronger, mingling with the fragrance of moss and ancient wood. In the distance, the shapes of the forest slowly emerged from the mist. Massive trees, their branches tangled like a living net, stood tall, while a thick carpet of fallen leaves covered the ground beneath our feet, hiding countless secrets. Here another world was waiting, a world beneath the soil, ruled by the fierce red ants, the disciplined black ants, and the armored beetles, shining like living jewels. Our journey was no ordinary walk. We stood on the threshold of an ancient war, a secret battle waged for thousands of years by armies that knew neither mercy nor fatigue. In this hidden realm, strength was not measured by size, but by willpower, courage, and strategy. Between the towering trees and within the dense forests, a secret world thrives, hidden not in the heights, but beneath the very soil we tread. Underneath the roots that twist and claw through the earth, beneath the fallen leaves and mossy stones, life flourishes in ways most of us could never imagine. In the shadows of the forest, the red ants build their empires, fierce and relentless. The black ants, tireless and strategic, forge their underground cities with astonishing precision. And the beetles, armored travelers from ancient times, patrol the dark corridors, guarding secrets older than the forest themselves. Above ground, the forest hums with the songs of birds and the rustling of leaves. But below, an endless drama unfolds. Battles, alliances, survival, and conquest, all hidden from human eyes. This is not just a forest. It is a universe within a universe. And today, we journey deep into it.
Pesticides, pollution, habitat destruction. Human activities are disrupting the delicate balance of these underground worlds. And if these creatures vanish, the soil dies. Crops fail. Ecosystems collapse. Beneath our feet lies a world, ancient, unseen, and fiercely alive. A place where war never ends, where silent empires rise and fall. Welcome to the hidden kingdoms of the insect world. Tonight, we uncover the secret lives of three of nature's most incredible civilizations: the armored beetles, the fire ant legions, and the stealthy black ants. Strength, fire, and strategy. Who will dominate the underworld? Beneath your feet, a hidden world rages on. Fierce battles, ancient rivalries, covert alliances. Meet the beetles, the armored warriors. The red ants, the relentless invaders. The black ants, the cunning strategists. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a silent war that's been going on for millions of years. And you've probably stepped right over it. Step 1. Whispers of the forest. Everything was still, but stillness in the forest is deceiving. As I quietly sat near a giant tree trunk, life began to unfold before my eyes. A shiny black beetle crawled across a piece of bark, searching for food or shelter. And just a few steps away, a red ant darted past, as if on an urgent mission. I followed it, as though stepping into a secret world behind the green curtain of the trees. Into the wild, a journey to discover beetles and ants. On a misty morning at the edge of the forest, I packed my small backpack, grabbed my magnifying lens, and set out on an adventure to uncover a hidden world. A world that lives beneath stones, between fallen leaves, and inside the cracks of ancient trees. My mission: to follow the trail of the creatures that have ruled these lands for thousands of years. Beetles and ants.
A long and arduous journey where every step teaches the meaning of determination. The journey was not just a crossing between dots on a map. It was a test of patience, body, and spirit. Hours of walking under an unforgiving sun, and the heavy load of equipment that began as a companion turned into a burden, a reminder of our vulnerability to nature. Even the air itself challenged us. The humidity suffocated our breath, or the dry winds that stung our faces like whips. Turdi di. Time rides the back of the turtle. On the way, time turned into a slow, stone-like creature. Each step was measured by heartbeats, and each mile felt like crossing an entire continent. The forest that seemed so close on the map began to flee from us the closer we got, like a mirage toying with the minds of the weary. But we persevered because surrender would mean losing all the secrets those ancient trees concealed. Tornado-Kulturen. Obstacles that create new travelers in us. Small rivers of mud that swallow our shoes and upset our balance, reminding us that the land is not ours. Knife-like cliffs, which we had to climb using tangled roots as rescue ropes. Starless nights, where darkness turned into an enveloping nightmare and the sounds of nocturnal animals transformed our imaginations into monsters. One night, as we tried to light a fire, a heavy rain fell, as if the sky had decided to cleanse us of the audacity of entering its world. We crouched under a large rock, shivering from the cold, but our laughter rivaled the thunder. We had transformed despair into stories we would later tell. The moment that made all the fatigue evaporate. On the morning of the third day, as exhaustion was about to end our journey, the dense canopy of trees suddenly revealed itself. We were confronted by a green oasis suspended in time. Sunlight filtered like golden threads onto the forest floor. Blue beetles shimmered like tiny meteors, and endless lines of ants burrowed into the soil like artists carving their masterpieces. Here, all the pain of the journey melted away. Even the wounds left by the thorns on our hands seemed like tattoos telling the story of our arrival. I sat contemplating an ant trying to climb a leaf stuck to a drop of dew, as if defying gravity, and I understood. Greatness lies not in the ease of the path, but in the strength of will that transforms difficulties into steps of a ladder. Why is fatigue worth it? Because masterpieces are not given to those who seek rest. Those beetles I saw, with their astonishing details, would only reveal their secrets to those who dared to wade through the mud. And the ants, with their organization that mimics the most complex cities, would only reveal their genius to those who patiently observed them for hours without getting bored. The arduous journey taught me that where true beauty is born from the womb of challenge, and that the greatest discoveries lie not on paved roads, but in corners that are only reached by those who pay the price with sweat and tears. If you ask me, would you do it again? I would answer without hesitation. The long road is the true beginning of every memorable adventure. Leaf insect. Safduwan, the journey into the world of beetles and ants, steps on the threshold of the hidden kingdom. The journey into the world of beetles and ants was not just a random walk among the trees. It was an adventure that required deliberation, and delving into the details of nature, which can only be touched by those who bend their backs to gently touch the ground. It began with the first light of dawn, when the dew still hung its pearls on the tips of the leaves, and the air carried the scent of moist soil mixed with the aroma of wild herbs. L'arrivée, the departure, from the noise of the cities to the calm of the small holes. I carried a small bag containing a magnifying glass, a notebook, and a pen, and headed toward the edge of the forest, where the ground began to undulate with its delicate terrain. The first steps were heavy, as if my mind was still suspended in the din of life. But with each step, I began to hear the faint whispers of insects, the buzz of a passing fly, the rustle of a beetle's wings searching for shelter, and the sound of an ant dragging scraps of food through the grass. Entering the smaller world, where grasses become forests. At a bend in the trees, I decided to leave the familiar trails and follow the scent of rotting soil, which indicated that life was thriving beneath the dead leaves. Here, tall grasses had transformed into giant columns, small rocks into mountains, and each upturned stone was a gateway to a secret. I pulled myself slowly to the ground so as not to disturb the inhabitants of this world. Beneath my feet, a carpet of dry leaves and mud unfolded, and suddenly I noticed the delicate paths carved through the grass, like highways expertly designed by ants. I traced one with my finger and saw a procession of worker ants marching steadily, carrying leaves and seeds to their colony. Obstacles on the road, mud, thorns, and surprising surprises. The journey wasn't always easy. At one point, I got stuck in soft mud, leaving footprints as deep as traps. As I tried to free myself, I noticed a shiny green beetle also struggling to climb a slanted grass stem. The sight of it pushing its tiny body with determination made me smile. Even here in the world of the young, there is an indomitable will. I also passed through a dense thorny area where I had to crawl on my knees, but the reward was the discovery of a nest of silky ants suspended among the branches, heavily guarded by soldiers. Hidden signs, nature's languages that guide the way. On my search, I learned to read nature's signs. Small holes worn in the ground. These could be entrances to ant colonies or beetle nests. Tightly folded. Leaves, perhaps harboring insect larvae hiding inside. Lines of sand grains. Traces left by ants tunneling beneath the surface. As I advanced, I picked up the sound of rhythmic east tapping, later revealed to be woodchucks communicating by tapping their heads on branches. Arrival, when the world turns into a living painting. After hours of tracking, I arrived at a spot resembling a miniature royal palace. To my right, a huge ant colony from which endless flocks of ants streamed in and out, like a city that never sleeps. To my left, on a wildflower, a luminous blue beetle sits, flapping its wings in the sun. Beneath my feet, decaying leaves reveal another world. Worms, moths, and fungi form an entire food chain. Here I sat for a long time, feeling as if I had entered a magical portal to a parallel universe, where the rules of greatness are being rewritten. The small can be more massive than we imagine.
Meet the bombardier beetle. Its rear becomes a chemical cannon, blasting enemies with boiling liquid. The world of beetles. Living armor. I found a small beetle hiding under a damp leaf. Its patience amazed me. It didn't move until I thought it was just a pebble. Suddenly, it opened its wings and flew off with a soft, buzzing sound. It was a ground beetle, a silent hunter that thrives in the shadows, feeding on worms and larvae. Some beetles glowed in the dark, while others released hot chemical smoke as a defense. I marveled at how these tiny creatures, smaller than a fingernail, live such complex and strategic lives, fully adapted to a dangerous world. While red ants attack with brute force, black ants rely on precision and strategy. Beneath the soil, they construct vast cities, connected by tunnels and chambers. They are masters of pheromones, a chemical language used to share directions, warn of danger, and even signal war. Sometimes, they forge strange alliances, inviting beetles into their homes in exchange for services, cleaning, protection, or even chemical offerings. A biological contract of sorts. Every day is a battlefield. Beetles invade colonies. Red ants assault rival nests. Black ants set traps. No side stays dominant forever. Who wins in this endless war? The brute force of red ants? The intellect of black ants? Or the adaptability of beetles? The answer changes with every sunrise. They may look slow, even clumsy, but beetles are among the most powerful and diverse creatures on Earth. There are over 350,000 known species, each equipped with a personal suit of armor. Some glow in the dark, some shoot acid, others simply crush anything in their way. With over 400,000 known species, beetles are some of Earth's most diverse and successful creatures. Some are gentle herbivores, others ruthless hunters. Take the bombardier beetle. When threatened, it fires a boiling chemical explosion from its abdomen, reaching temperatures up to 100 degrees Celsius. A walking chemical weapon. Then there are the infiltrators, beetles that mimic ant scents to sneak inside their colonies, feed on their young, and vanish undetected. They are masters of chemical espionage.
Beetles are insects widespread throughout the world. Their name derives from the shape and structure of their wings, which have transformed into a rigid structure that covers most of the body except for the head and the first thoracic segment, Figure 1. Their shapes and sizes vary from one to another, and they may be long or nearly round. Their length ranges from a few millimeters to about 20 centimeters. Adult insects tend to be dark in color, with black and brown predominating. Some exhibit a metallic sheen resulting from light reflecting off the body wrinkles, which are often pits or grooves. Most beetles possess a vocal apparatus. The head of a beetle contains the eyes, mouth, and antennae, which are the insect's primary sense organs. The mouth parts are of the biting type, and many have large mandibles. The eyes are compound, round, or oval, and are replaced by horny patches in cave-dwelling beetles. The thorax consists of 3 segments, the first of which lacks spiracles, except in some primitive forms. The 2 inner wings are membranous and typically longer than the insect's body, folding under the horny wings. The insect typically has 3 pairs of strong legs emanating from the thorax segments. These may be slender and long for running, or short or modified for swimming or burrowing. The abdomen consists of 9 distinct segments and a 10th atrophied segment, containing the digestive and reproductive organs. Spiral spiracles are distributed on either side of each abdominal segment. Beetle larvae vary in shape and size. They may be flattened, curved, or thread-like, and may be larger than the adult insect. Larvae are characterized by distinct heads with a solid peduncle, Figure 2. Pupae are free-living or semi-bound and are static, but the abdominal segments move actively when stimulated. Beetle classification and distribution. Beetles are classified according to their general body structure, behavior, and diet. They belong to the phylum Arthropoda, which in turn is divided into several classes, the largest of which is the class Hexapoda. Beetles belong to the subclass Endopterygotes in the order Coleoptera. The aforementioned order is divided into two suborders. The first is the suborder Adiphaga, which is a group of mostly beneficial beetles that feed on similar foods in their active stages. Larvae and adults. They are characterized by two thread-like antennae and long five-segmented tarsi. Their larvae, with flattened thoracopods, have tweezer-like claws at the ends of their legs. This group includes the predatory beetles, family Carabidae. The second order, the Polyphaga suborder, includes herbivorous insects characterized by various antennae, including club-shaped, leaf-shaped, saw-like, and hairy. Their larvae are flattened or cylindrical, and their thoracic legs end in a single claw. The most important families of the Coleoptera order are the Dermastidae family, the Buberstidae, the Coccinellidae, the Scarabidae, and the Bruchidae. Biological characteristics of beetles are characterized by characteristics that allow them to diversify their diet, ranging from live prey to organic matter on or below the soil surface, to plant foods such as buds and leaves, and to xylophagous insects. Beetles can quickly move long distances in search of new food sources and can protect themselves from biological enemies and harsh environmental factors during dormancy. Beetles reproduce rapidly, with many species producing more than 100 eggs, and a generation may occur more than once per year. They live in the air, water, or subsoil, and have different dormant phases that allow them to withstand harsh weather conditions. Their larvae breathe using gills or pharynxes underwater, and some adults can remain underwater for more than 100 hours. Damage and control. Beetles include a large number of harmful insects that cause economic losses to agricultural crops such as wheat and rice, and to stored legumes such as chickpeas, lentils, and beans. Some beetles parasitize fruit trees, such as stem borers and leaf miners, and some parasitize fruit internally and externally. Some scarab beetles, such as the plant bug, attack vegetation, including the grass seedling chewer, Zabrus tenebriotes. The bean beetle gnaws through the leaves, as does the clover beetle, and the adult apricot beetle eats the leaves before laying its eggs inside the newly set fruit, causing it to drop. Stem borers from the genus Calisoma eat tree bark, drying it out, stunting growth, and opening the way for fungal and bacterial diseases. Beetles that attack stored grains, such as wheat, barley, and rice, cause damage and open the way for secondary insects that attack broken wheat and its products, such as the sawfly beetle and the flour beetle, which attacks pasta and biscuits in both larval and adult stages. On the other hand, there are some economic benefits resulting from predatory species, such as the black-field beetle, Calisoma chlorostictum, which preys on butterfly larvae and other insects, and spring beetles from the genus ladybird, which eradicate colonies of aphids and related insects. Scavenger beetles from the genus Calisoma feed on animal waste and dead bodies, helping to clean the environment of odorous, decaying matter and harmful fungi. The Food and Agriculture Organization estimates the annual global damage caused by beetles at approximately $100 million. There are numerous measures to combat them, the most important of which are 1. Using light traps or pheromones specific to each species during the breeding season. 2. Killing stored grain and food product insects using gases such as ethylene gas or phosphatidyl chloride tablets. 3. Using crop rotations that deprive the insect of its host for 1 or 2 seasons to reduce its numbers as much as possible. 4. Using integrated pest management programs that include spraying low toxicity, rapidly degrading pesticides to reduce environmental pollution. 5. Distributing biological enemies of these insects, such as bacteria that kill the larvae of ground and plant beetles, and fungi that parasitize harmful species in their dormant stages, with the aim of restoring ecological balance. The bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis, with its various strains, is a biological enemy of beetles in the larval stage. Beauveria bassiana is a parasitic fungus that parasitizes beetles above and below the soil. Penicillium larvarum, as well as Crypsip miliaris, are also included in this category. Using beetles for biological control. Biological control methods are becoming more widespread and expanding every day. as the harmful effects of various pesticides and their environmental pollution, as well as the development of resistant generations, have been proven. Beetles are one such method. They are predators of other insects, the most important of which are members of the ladybird family. This method relies on propagating the predator species on a host plant, identifying the infestation in isolated cages, and then introducing new predators to these cages. These predators begin feeding on these individuals, multiplying within the cages.
The ant kingdom, order and power. Later, my steps led me to a colony of black ants. The scene resembled a tireless city. Orderly lines of workers carried leaf fragments. Soldiers guarded the entrances, and a queen deep underground ruled it all. Unseen, yet omnipresent. A few meters away, I discovered a red ant colony. They were not only more aggressive, but also faster and more active. I watched a group attack a small larva. The battle was swift, decisive, without hesitation. In every movement of the ants, I saw instinctive intelligence and a system as intricate as any human city. If beetles are the tanks, fire ants are the infantry. Highly organized, incredibly aggressive, and always ready for war. Their colonies can house hundreds of thousands. Each ant has a role. Workers, soldiers, queens. And when the signal comes, they attack. They move like liquid, build towers with their bodies, cross rivers using nothing but teamwork. Their sting burns like fire, hence the name. And if you think size stops them, think again. They don't negotiate, they conquer. Now meet the red ants, nature's army. Aggressive, organized, and terrifying in numbers. Led by a queen, their society runs like a military base. Soldiers, scouts, workers. When they strike, it's total war. One signal and hundreds respond. Surround, immobilize, devour. No mercy. They communicate with chemical signals, plan ambushes, and can even carry out search and rescue missions when one of their own is trapped. But not all battles are won with fire. Some are won with silence. Meet the black ant, the strategist, the spy, the saboteur. They don't charge, they infiltrate. With pheromones invisible to the human eye, they guide their armies through mazes. No spoken words, just perfect chemical coordination. They build vast underground cities, hidden from predators. And when needed, they disappear without a trace. They're not as flashy, not as violent, but they're smart. And in the insect world, brains can beat brawn. Returning from the unknown, as the sun began to set, I was covered in dirt, but my eyes were full of wonder. I had witnessed a world that breathes and thrives beneath our feet. A world that doesn't need sound to amaze or size to demand respect. Through this small journey, I discovered that adventure doesn't require plains or oceans. Just a closer look and a heart ready to be amazed. There's more to this world than what we see. Beneath us lies a universe of courage, cooperation, betrayal, and brilliance, written in miniature. The beetles fight, the ants scheme, and the war for survival never stops. So next time you see an ant trail, Stop and look closer. You might be witnessing a story bigger than you ever imagined. But there's a fourth player in this conflict, one they never saw coming: us.